If you were to start learning Python today, where would you begin? As an AI engineering manager, I constantly use both Python and JavaScript since these are the two most common languages for AI ML libraries, which you can consume easily and build on top of. It took me at least 2 years to feel confident in these languages. But today, with the amount of AI tools, you can reach an intermediate level in Python in just 3 months or less if you learn it the right way. So today, I'll be sharing with you a roadmap for you to learn the fundamentals of Python and learn how to build with Python. Even if you don't have any background in coding, I hope you walk away with some useful ideas of where to start. So why should we bother learning Python? The simple answer is it is one of the most used programming languages in today's age, but probably one of the easiest ones to pick up as well. We all know about the recent boost in AI and Gen AI, but while most people only consume such AI tools, if you have the knowledge to build things with AI, you can actually create a huge impact. And that's why we need more people having an in-depth understanding of Python or JavaScript. Also, if you're just getting started, don't worry about the amount of new terminologies. I'll break down the process for you. Now, whenever you learn a new technology, you can use this 4-step learning method that I call TLLC. I in fact use this TLLC framework to teach my team as well. To start with, learn the tools. This is always the fun part because there's always a fun new shiny tool out there. Then you learn the programming language, in this case Python. Third, you need to understand relevant libraries and APIs that you can build on top of. Because if you understand how the tech world is set up, you don't need to build everything from the ground floor. You can directly start from the 5th floor using libraries and APIs. And finally, you go into the core conceptual knowledge. Spend most of your effort on this concepts layer. Don't get distracted by libraries or tools because they will keep changing. But your core concepts will help you to build a solid product, grow in your career, and avoid an imposter syndrome. Let's start with TLLC level 1, tools. To get started with Python, you would need a tool to start coding. Couple of quick IDEs you can use to get started are Jupyter and Visual Studio Code. I would recommend VS Code to start with. You can also use newer IDEs like Cursor or Bolt.new, but it's actually better to start with non-Gen AI IDEs so that you remain in control of how the code flows. After maybe a month, you can switch from VS Code to Cursor, which is actually a very easy transition. Now on to level 2, language, where you learn the basics of Python. If you've never coded with Python, then make sure to at least get yourself familiar with some basic concepts like data types, list of data types and the operations that you can do on them, data structures, how to create data structures and how to work with them, conditional loops and functions and how you use them. For example, in for loop, a range can be used to specify a particular range to iterate the loop a specific number of times through that range. Functions can be understood as a block of code that contains one or more Python statements and used for performing a specific task. Built-in functions are predefined in Python. There's no need to declare these functions before calling them and can be freely invoked as per the requirement. OOPs and libraries. Concepts like object-oriented programming and how to use external libraries using a package library like PIP is extremely helpful. Debugging and error handling. Understand how you can write code to react in case of errors and how you can debug code when it runs. Don't get carried away at this level. A lot of times we get stuck in the details of some small topics and lose motivation. We definitely want to avoid that. It's fine not to completely understand everything at this stage. You have the chance to practice and solidify your knowledge in the next levels. Now, practically, you don't need to write all the code that goes into building a service or app. You would either end up importing libraries of code into your project. So you basically load the code inside your project and then use them. Or you call APIs, where the code is hosted on a different network somewhere and you are simply calling them via their public API requests. With Python, there are multiple open source libraries that you can use to develop almost anything you want. You can use package installers like PIP or Conda to install libraries into your project. There are millions of libraries to choose from, but you might start with some of these. Pandas for data analysis, NumPy, which is similar to pandas but with arrays, matplotlib for making quick static charts, Streamlit to quickly create interactive web apps, and many more. You can also use packages specifically for building AI apps like TensorFlow, scikit-learn or LangChain. LangChain also has a library called LangGraph, which lets you easily create AI agents. You should also learn how to call APIs. This lets you call an existing company's service like Google Maps or an LLM or image generation from your app and show the result on your UI. Now coming to the most important level, Level 4, like I mentioned before, is about understanding the underlying concepts of building any tech product. The first concept is Git version control. So Git is basically an open source software for tracking changes in your project, basically managing versions of your project. Version control is essential when you're collaborating with other people in a large or complex project. The easiest way for you to get started is with VS Code. It simplifies the Git steps as simple buttons. But if possible, I would recommend you learn the terminal way. You would end up learning the core Git concepts much better. When you book a flight, you would naturally assume that the airline thoroughly tested the aircraft before takeoff, right? You would expect them to verify that every system functions perfectly, that safety protocols are fully met to prevent accidents, and that the crew is trained to handle emergencies. You would also want regular maintenance checks done to ensure the plane stays reliable and up to date with the latest aviation standards. Similarly, when you write 1,000 lines of code and deliver some functionality, you need to ensure that the software product standards are met. Performance. Your product should be highly performant, each action should be fast and consume low memory and CPU. Security. Your product should be highly secure. For example, only authenticated and authorized users should be allowed to access your product. Also, your dependent libraries and APIs should not cause any security violations, and your users' personal data should be kept safe. Quality. Your product should function exactly the same every time consistently without bugs. DevOps. So DevOps is about how your code written by you and your team comes together, gets packaged, and reaches the customer as a website or app. Legal. Your product should be legally compliant so that you don't face any ethical or legal issues. There are more standards, but this is a good place to get started. As you get better at coding, you'll realize that simply coding isn't the final goal. You need to get better at writing clean and modular code. And this is where design patterns come in. Some of the standard design patterns are singleton pattern, where you use modules or decorators instead of classes, factory pattern with functions returning objects like a datetime module, or observer pattern where you use event emitters like PyDispatch. Concurrency. You would also need to know core concepts like concurrency to perform tasks in parallel. You can do this in many ways like threading, multiprocessing, or using a library called async.io. If you take time to learn and understand these concepts and also test them out with real-world project ideas, then it's all sorted. No matter where you are in your learning journey, working on small but real projects is one of the best ways to practice and understand new concepts. It helps you experiment, connect the dots, and strengthen your understanding. If you're just starting to learn Python, you can start by building a simple neural network using a library like TensorFlow. With just a few lines of code, you can create a basic model that performs tasks like predicting numbers or recognizing patterns. If you want to understand things more deeply, try creating an MCP AI agent using the Python SDK from Anthropic. Now, I want to clarify something about no-code and low-code tools. If you're new to coding, there are a bunch of low-code or no-code tools to help you get started with Python and even develop apps without much coding. You can and you should certainly play with them to have the first feeling of how things work and what is possible. You can even build complete real-world solutions with them. But if I were to start learning Python again, I would not use these tools too much. Instead, I would build on my own, but definitely use AI tools to assist me because it really helps to have a solid understanding of how things work from ground up. Before I finish, I want to also address an important question. With so many low-code and AI tools, is it still worth learning Python? What is the point when AI can write code much faster than we can? So Python is still one of the most in-demand programming languages today. In addition, knowing how to program in Python empowers you to build applications on top of AI models. This means that you're not just a consumer of AI, but you can build things with AI. So yes, AI can now generate code, but it still has significant limitations that we can't ignore. Like hallucination in coding is still a big issue. Without sufficient understanding, you might unknowingly allow AI-generated code to install some malware in your environment. That's why you still need to know how to code. Even if you use AI to write code, being proficient in Python will help you verify and correct AI-generated code and leverage AI effectively and safely. Don't just watch this video and forget about it. Comment below a date by which you will complete your first Python project. Let me know in the comments which TLLC level you are at so that I can make more videos specifically for you. Make sure to check out this video on my AI journey as well. Thank you for watching.